Hey, I think we have here a fun problem today, something a little bit different. If anyone's been watching my videos for a long time, you'll know that when I started about a year ago, I was doing a lot of which is bigger problems. I do really like these problems, so I thought I'd go back and do one again. So the problem we have on the board is which is bigger, 23 to the 45 or 45 factorial. And the way I want to set this up is I'm just going to write this as a fraction. We'll write this as 45 factorial over 23 to the 45. And this will be like a test because if this fraction is greater than 1, that's going to mean that 45 factorial is bigger. And if this fraction is less than 1, it's going to mean that 23 to the 45 is bigger. So what I want to do is kind of write this out. So I'll write 45 factorial. We'll just write it all out as 45 times 44 times 43. And of course, I'm not going to write the whole thing. But I will note the, let's go in the middle. So we're going to get to 24 times 23 times 22 all the way to 1. And then for the denominator, we're going to have just all 23 to the 45. We're just going to have all 23s. And just notice we're going to have the same number of terms in the numerator and denominator, right? Because there's 45 terms here and 45 terms here. And now we have this crazy huge fraction. And it does look like it's going to be kind of challenging to simplify this. So let's kind of break this down. Now, one thing I can take care of, I can at least take care of this term, right? 23 is going to cancel with 23. And then it's a little hard to evaluate, but it's like if we look at the terms here to the left of the 23, clearly, if we cut the fraction right here, clearly the numerator is bigger. But then if we cut the fraction right here, every term in the denominator is bigger than what's in the numerator, so clearly the denominator is bigger here. So just looking at it as these two fractions where 1 is much bigger than 1, 1 is much less than 1, when we multiply those two together, it's hard to say if it's going to be greater than 1, less than 1, equal to 1, who knows. So what I wanted to do instead, let's notice that if we go to the right of the 23, there's 22 terms here. And if we go to the left, there's also 22 terms here. So what I want to do is group these terms in a different way. We can pair up a term from the left and a term on the right, and we can write this a different way. So what I'll do is write this as 24 times 22 over 23 squared. And then we'll take the next term, which would be 25 times 21 over 23 squared. And then let's say we'd have 26 times 20 over 23 squared. And of course, this is going to go on and on. Then I think let's just do the last two terms. So we'll have, like, for the second to last term, we'll have 44 times 2 over 23 squared. And then the last term is going to be 45 times 1 over 23 squared. And then looking at things this way, things start to become a little clearer. Like if we just focus on this last term, we have 45 in the numerator, 23 squared is 529. So 45 over 529 is much less than 1. Then we go to the second to last term. 2 times 44, 88 over 529, much less than 1. And keep in mind, we're multiplying together terms less than 1. The result is going to be less than 1. But what about some of these terms over here on the left? Well, rather than try to multiply all this stuff out, let's try to generalize it a little bit. So 24 I could write as 23 plus 1. And 22 I could write as 23 minus 1 over 23 squared. And then similarly for this next term, we could write this as 23 plus 2, 23 minus 2 over 23 squared. And of course, we can continue this way. Let's just write that out. Now at this point, it's actually kind of more messy than what we had here. But now what we can do for each of these is rewrite this as a difference of two squares. So like for the first term, we could write this as 23 squared minus 1 over 23 squared. And then for this one, we could write this as 23 squared minus 2 squared over 23 squared. And we could just go on and on like this. And we could just do this all the way to the end where we have 23 squared minus 22 squared over 23 squared. But the nice thing about this is if we look at this 23 squared minus 1, so this first term is we have 23 squared and we're subtracting from it. This has to be less than 1. But again, for the second term, we're subtracting 4 from 529. So this is less than 1. 529 minus 9, this is going to be 520 over 529. This is less than 1. We already went over this one. This is just 45 over 529. So this is less than 1. So what we have here is we have 22 terms, each of them less than 1, multiplied together. If we're multiplying together terms that are all less than 1, and more specifically, if they're between 0 and 1, that means that the whole result is going to be less than 1. So we can say that this whole thing is less than 1, which means that this is less than 1. But like I said in the beginning of the video, if the whole thing's less than 1, then that means the denominator is bigger, and that means that 23 to the 45 is greater than 45 factorial. So that's it. Thanks everyone for watching today. Please like and subscribe. Have a great day.